Border Patrol keeping a close eye on anyone who might be attempting to cross. The water is usually about 2 feet further down. This water is coming up. Beto O'Rourke has just arrived. He's walking into our KENS 5 studio. Within 8 feet, completely knocked down. How much rain is out here? We've got about 2 inches. And come to find this repair kit right here. And they chalked up a vision of this rainbow on all 4 of these crosswalks. And this year, their dream is coming true. It was made to be my size. Check this out. I can even reach the roof. This is cute, right? We're on a mission to help battle diabetes. First stop, the produce section. 6 rounds from an AK-47. The front is completely shattered, but in the back, because it's bullet resistant, the back is smooth. Now it reads, "Go away, Matthew," but that's been changed and crossed out to "Go away, Irma." Packed with this foam inside, used to get across the river. Several patrol cars still out here on the scene where they found that shooter dead. It was supposed to be a fun family day here at SeaWorld, but it turned tragic just after 8 tonight. Police tell us a 5-year-old girl got away from her parents, darted between the 2 vehicles, and as she was coming out, a white truck struck her, killing her out here at the scene on the first lane of this parking lot at SeaWorld. It's a tragic scene out here. Police tell us the driver of that truck was just simply distraught, and so is the family tonight. Now, we spoke with SAPD. This is a thing that people do. They come out to big events like this, to parks like this, to spend time with their family during the summer, and they have a few tips for parents and families and friends who are at busy parking lots like this one tonight.
Be careful, you know, these young kids, of course, they're young, they want to, you know, they're excited to be at places like this, but hold on to your kids, grab their hands. Drivers, just make sure, be aware that there's young children at these locations, and they don't necessarily pay attention to their parents all the time, so make sure to go extra slow, pay attention, but parents, please, please, please grab your children.
As you heard her right there, just please, please, please grab your children. A lot of the families out here tonight very concerned. I am seeing a lot of parents, even older people, holding hands as they're walking to their vehicles tonight. SAPD says at this time this is simply a tragic accident and that driver is not facing charges.
Well, I guess I'm dealing with it about as well as anybody could. Do I think about it? Yeah, I do. And it's strange because I tell people that ask about it, when will you know that healing is happening?
Each step marks a day towards healing, but many days it's a step back in time to the day the nation closely watched the horror unfold.
Breaking news, 26 people
dead.
Church shooting, the worst mass shooting
in our state's history.
By a man they will only refer to as the shooter.
He started shooting people.
They're still identifying people and collecting bodies.
I'll know it when I go one entire day that the subject doesn't even come up. And that'll be a benchmark day.
There's dead people all inside the church.
In Texas, November 5th now marks the worst mass shooting in state history. A bloodstain on Stephen Williford's small town he one day hopes people can look past.
It's just a date. It's just a date.
But in his heart, it's a day the community he's called home nearly his entire life and his friends came under attack, leaving 26 people dead and another 20 wounded.
Evil took a stab at the heart and the soul of my community and didn't win.
A community drawing on each other's strength.
I've seen people that have lost so much, and they still struggle. I can't deny that. We still struggle. But they show up at church.
It's a church Williford attended with his great-grandfather as a child, but over the last decade, visited less than a handful of times, attending church in San Antonio, the city where he met his wife nearly 30 years ago. But on that Sunday, he says fate, set forth by God, kept him home and tasked him with a mission.
It was just a focus that I have to stop him, and that's what the focus was.
He says he struck the shooter as he fled, then quickly jumped into a truck. Chasing down the gunman who lost control, crashed into a ditch, and killed himself. It's a moment he recounts vividly, and as many hail him a hero, he wants one thing to be clear.
I'm a survivor too. He shot at me and he killed people I cared about. I'm a survivor, and if I've got to be a hero or a survivor, I want to be known for being one of my community for surviving this. I want to be known for being a survivor, because I am. And don't separate me from my community.
Today may mark the 1-year anniversary, but to this small community, it's just a small glimpse into a long journey of healing. Addie Guajardo, KENS 5 Eyewitness News. We're just a few hundred feet away from Rio Grande, and Border Patrol agents say they see a minimum of about 50 immigrants crossing the river a day, and a maximum more than 100 at times popping out from some of these trails they say have been here for years. And that's exactly why they say they're out here patrolling 24 hours a day.
Day and night, these foreign grounds become the trail to freedom for immigrants crossing illegally, at times smuggled in grim conditions from countries including Guatemala, El Salvador, Honduras, and Mexico.
So we're walking through one of the trails that Border Patrol just showed us that is very active. He did a walkthrough right before letting us go through it. You can see the brush is really thick.
Just beyond the brush here on the U.S. side lies El Rio Grande, where thousands take on the treacherous river, dividing Mexico and the U.S.
You know, I have no idea how people could get through this at night. I mean, I'm walking during the day. I'm not even sure if the trail is going left, it's going right, or what direction we're going in. I don't know how these people do it, especially not being familiar with this terrain or even familiar with this area.
As we get closer to the river, we find clues of a pit stop.
Right here we have a sweater. This shirt is damp. Looks maybe someone was here not too long ago.
After about an hour, we find our way back and head towards Chacon Bat Park, another well-known area for illegal crossing. From afar, we can see people on the Mexican side, and less than an hour after arriving,
just moments later, we saw Border Patrol on the water. Now Border Patrol is combing through these trails to see if they can find anybody else.
the area isn't protected by a wall. It's up to hundreds of Border Patrol agents to track down undocumented immigrants.
You can see behind me Border Patrol keeping a close eye on anyone who might be attempting to cross this river.
They're the first line of defense, but not the only one. Surveillance technology is laid throughout the U.S. border.
We have relocatable towers that have sophisticated detection cameras, night vision type of cameras on there. We have underground sensors. We have drawbridge cameras that the state of Texas Department of Public Safety provides on our behalf.
Border Patrol Chief Felix Chavez says oftentimes immigrants will swim or raft across the river.
Unfortunately, a rescue or recovering a dead body on the Rio Grande is a far too normal occurrence.
While the dangers of crossing illegally are known, thousands gamble with their lives annually, evading Border Patrol, all in hopes of achieving the American dream.